Well, good afternoon, everybody. It is official. We are live on Facebook, and I'd like to welcome Realtors Nation to our Super Series Tuesday. All hands on deck. It takes a village to produce 2 million Black homeowners in 5 years. Guys, thank you guys so much for all of your support and for joining us week after week after week on Super Series Tuesday. And today we are diving deep, we're jumping in, and we're tackling down payment assistance. So, again, my name is Letitia Grant. I am your National House, then the Car Chair, and my co chair, Madam Stephanie Milburn.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Stephanie Milburn. I am the House in the Car campaign manager and the co-host for Super Series Tuesday. So welcome everyone to today's show.
And we are joined today by the phenomenal, our co-host. We're always so excited to have you on here co-hosting with us, Madam LaTonya Donaldson.
Hey. Hi, I'm LaTonya Donaldson, VP, Director of Multicultural Lending with Prime Lending. And yes, Letitia, you know, our energy is undeniable. So I'm always happy to join you.
Good deal, guys. So let's kind of take the audience back, just in case they have not joined us week after week after week. Taking you guys all the way back, again, we talk about it takes a village to produce 2 million Black homeowners in the next 5 years. We started off with episode 1, where we were with all of the affiliates and initiatives, and we kind of dived deep, and we talked about the things that we could do working together to produce that. And then we went on to one of my favorite topics, and I don't know if it's my favorite, again, Stephanie, because what?
Yes, you taught 6th grade math.
Exactly. But I know that LaTonya shares that. So our favorite topic of budgeting and credit.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. And why? Because it is so important. It is, that is paramount to helping us achieve our initiative.
Absolutely. So we opened that virtual floor to FICO and Freddie Mac, and we were so excited that they joined us. And now we're here at episode 3. And we're talking down payment assistance. We talked about working on your credit, getting the budget, but let's just be real. Some of us just don't have that down payment assistance. But in effort to keep our floor full, to keep our virtual stage full, we're actually joined with a few additional guests. Stephanie?
Yes, that's right. We do have all hands on deck for sure. So we have some special co-hosts today, and I'm just going to call them out, and you guys can speak later on. But shout out to Nichelle Hagan. She is the president of the Greater Metropolitan Association of Realtors. We have Antonio Worsham. He is the chairman of the board and the first vice president for the Charlotte Crown Association of NAREB. And joining us a little bit later is going to be Dr. Melissa Chester. She is the president of the Jacksonville Association of Real Estate Brokers. So thank you all for joining us today and bringing all hands on deck.
Absolutely. We're definitely so excited to have them, because what they will have the ability to do is bring this from a different perspective, from their local chapter perspective. So thank you, local chapter presidents, for joining us today. And then, of course, we couldn't end it there. We had to bring somebody else to this stage, right, LaTonya?
That's right. Absolutely. So we have Sean Moss. He's the Senior VP, Director of Operations and Customer Support. Sean directs operations, implementation, and support of down payment resources and customers. Moss has had more than 15 years of experience in real estate. He's still such a baby, and finance industry, where his leadership roles range from loan operations to technology projects and process improvement for small and large mortgage companies. He has an extensive background in down payment assistance and affordable lending products. Welcome, Sean.
Thank you. Appreciate it. We're excited to be here today.
Yeah, we are excited to have you as well, Sean. You know, as I said, we started off the series with, again, you know, speaking with all of the affiliates, or most of the affiliates, and the initiatives with under NAREB. And then we went on and talked about the tools. Well, even though we didn't combine your session in with the other tools, we thought it would be fitting to have you here today in your own separate. We know that so many people, they just don't even consider home ownership because they don't have the down payment. So what I really wanted to do today is kind of start today off a little bit different than we do any other session. You know, we're really going to dive a little bit deeper and talk from individual perspectives on down payment assistance and how it shaped your buyer when your buyer was able to purchase a home by using that down payment assistance. And then we'll talk a little bit more, Sean, as to why you are here specifically. Stephanie, let's open it up.
Yes, I will start it off by saying that I entered the real estate industry in the affordable home market. So my clients have definitely benefited from down payment assistance. So I don't, I could probably count on one hand how many clients have not used down payment assistance. I have so many who realize their dream of home ownership through down payment assistance. So that is a very, very vital tool in this process, because some people may be credit ready, they may be financially ready, but still may not have 3.5% or 3% or 5% to put down for your down payment, or they may just be a little bit short. So whatever the amount the down payment assistance provides, it definitely helps them and to realize the dream of home ownership. So most of my clients take advantage of that, whether they are low to moderate income or whether they're, making close to $100,000 a year. There are down payment assistance programs for many, types of buyers. So not just first time home buyers either. So there's lots of programs out there. I did just have a client close on a home using USDA financing. So that's a type of down payment assistance through that type of financing where she didn't have to put anything down. I have a client right now who is using T-Shack. So there's so many different, avenues for home ownership as far as their down payment assistance. And Letitia, you and I have used the City of Houston down payment assistance program whenever we can. So we always promote that one because our clients are able to receive up to $30,000. So who wouldn't want $30,000 in down payment? So if that's available for you and you qualify, please take advantage of that. So I'm going to stop talking because I can go on and on and on about down payment assistance and how it has helped my clients. So Nichelle, why don't you give us a little bit about how it has helped your clients?
Yeah, so I'm going to share with you a story. One story that comes to mind is one of the clients that I had. She was a first-time home buyer, a millennial, and she purchased a home in the state of Maryland. She secured 100% financing loan. And that means that she did not have to have money for her down payment. And I just wanted to also state that, we need to note that that didn't mean that she didn't have to have any money for closing, but she didn't have to have her down payment money. Our house hunting experience was challenging, to say the least, because if you all don't know, I'm a licensed broker in DC, Washington, DC, Maryland, and Virginia. And property values here are pretty expensive. And she was pre-qualified for an amount that limited our inventory. So through our searching, I stumbled across a bank-owned listing. And it was located in a neighborhood that my client would not have been able to afford had it been the market value. So, you all know that if you're not on the listing end of REOs, a lot of times it's just not the most, favorable situation. And this sale was no exception, okay? So, but what I will share with you through skilled negotiation, through my ability to be persistent, and I will also say the grace of God, I'm elated to report that my buyer is now a homeowner.
Yeah.
And she bought her first home coming to the table with less than $1,500.
Come now.
Yeah, so
Yes.
that's my success story with that. And had it not been for the opportunity for her to participate in a program such as this, she would not have had that experience. So it is valuable. It's needed. It's essential. Yeah.
It is. That's awesome. And LaTanya, can you give us your perspective from a lender's position?
Sure. So I will just share one of my stories before I speak into that. I can remember when I started in this business 20-something years ago. I promise I was only 10. I was very, very young, but one of my first closings, I mean, and it basically gave me to the why as to why I do this. And I'll never forget it. It was a couple, and they had like 3 young children. And so the gentleman had been incarcerated. Okay, so he had been out, because I'm all about second chances, but he had come out of prison, and he wanted to make himself a productive citizen, right? So he had been employed, he had a job, but now he wanted to give his family the gift of home ownership. And so I worked with him. And, obviously, one of the major barriers of home ownership is down payment, which Letitia mentioned earlier. So that was his challenge. He didn't have enough down payment. So, of course, I went to work and partnered with a nonprofit, and we supplied him with down payment assistance. And, it wasn't an easy loan to do, right? But I will never forget the look that he had, because back then I would attend my closings, and he came in and he was so, as they say, he talked proud. He came with his family. Literally, my eyes teared up, because that particular closing meant something so different, because, just thinking about all the obstacles that he had overcome in life, and, he was given a second chance, and here he was with his family closing, but it was a down payment assistance program that made that possible. So yeah, I'm very passionate. I think that is key, and bridging this homeownership gap, particularly within minority communities. And, as I alluded to before, from a lender's perspective, that is one of the biggest barriers of homeownership, is down payment assistance programs. So, as a lender, we work with several thousands of down payment assistance providers, throughout the country, to help people get into homes and make home ownership a reality.
Yeah. LaTanya, I am so proud myself to hear that story. When you talk about second chances and the odds being stacked against you, when you come home, and especially if you're wanting to go down the right track, just being able, so I want to also commend you, because it wasn't just the down payment assistance that got him there. You as a lender had to go the extra mile to make sure that you were able to provide him with that down payment assistance. So guys, that was Miss LaTanya Donaldson with Prime Lending. So thank you so much for sharing that story.
You're quite welcome.
Antonio, give us a little bit. First of all, make sure you tell the audience where you're from, and then tell us about your story with down payment assistance.
Well, hello, I am Antonio Worsham. I'm the first vice president with Charlotte Crown out of Charlotte, North Carolina. I know you can't recognize me because I don't have an accent at all, but down payment assistance is, most of the time we think about it just as part of representing a buyer, but I'll have a little story about how it also can help if you have a seller. A lot of times sellers don't think about it, but a seller, one case I had is a buyer came and they put an offer on the house, and, you know, they've gone through inspections, appraisals, spent all of that money. And then the buyer's agent called me and said, well, I don't think we can close because if we don't get this price right here, my buyer won't be able to buy because she has no more money. And I said, well, are you using any down payment assistance? And he's like, I don't know anything about it. So I said, I recommended, I said, here, tell your buyer to contact this agent or this lender and get them to walk you through some down payment assistance program. And because he called, they were able to get up to $15,000. So it helped protect my seller to get the price that they wanted for the house, and it helped the buyer to purchase the house without putting the money down. So it's important to, whether you're working with a buyer or a seller, to have a knowledge of these down payment assistance programs, because you may just help them close the deal, because I would have hated for that buyer to walk away and not get that house because they had spent all of their money on appraisals and inspections and all of that other stuff that's required. So they were able to come into that house with almost no money out of pocket, and the seller was able to get, you know, the price that they agreed to. So it is very important to understand what you're doing.
I love that, from speaking to it from a different perspective. Isn't that awesome? You know, that's what I love about House in a Car. We're able to share so many different things from so many different perspectives. So now, guys, it is my turn. And for those of you that do not know, I am from Texas. Of course, you heard it as soon as I opened my mouth. But I'm also a Texas affordable housing specialist. And even though I'm a Texas, that's just a certification. But since I entered the industry, I have been working with down payment assistance back when I was a processor. The goal was, when I was a processor, I would see individuals come across my desk and I knew that they were setting themselves up for failure. And for me, the down payment assistance was truly an assistance to ensure that I was able to keep the individual in their home. So I can give you one story, and I am a queen of stacking. So I can give you one story of a young lady that came to me. She was actually utilizing the Section 8 program, and she had transitioned from renting to purchasing onto the purchase voucher program, which, as you guys know, that's already a challenge. But in addition to that, she was able to utilize the City of Houston's down payment assistance program, which was $30,000. At the time, Neighborhood Lift was around, which was another $15,000. And she had taken advantage of Covenant Community Capital, which is an IDA program here in Houston, and that was an additional $6,000. And of course, she did do MCC. Now, all of these things can be stacked. What we were able to do for her wasn't just provide her with a home. We were able to give her hope. And it was such a blessing to be able to be on this end of the transaction. Of course, we're talking about having a very, very low approval and then obtaining a small house in assistance, basically, because we're at like $70,000 in down payment assistance at this point. So being able to basically bring in someone else. I call down payment assistance your spouse, because the amount of income it gives you is equivalent to having another spouse. You know, we've even had clients that have had $200 mortgage payments, but all of this, everybody, is possible for down payment assistance. And down payment assistance amounts range, as you've heard here. It is ranged from $1,500 all the way up to $60,000, $70,000 in assistance. But what we want to do now is, well, I want to reintroduce Sean, because we've talked about all these great programs. Mm-hmm. We've named a few of them, but guess what you need to know, audience? You need to know how to find them.
Show me the money. Show me the money.
Show me the money. No, look, who was it that said that? It's Jerry Maguire. It was on Jerry Maguire.
Jerry Maguire.
That's where it came from.
The good thing is, I'm technically in my office by myself, so I could get up and start screaming, show me the money.
We We should
We
have.
probably have to change it up a little bit for these
Monopoly
millennials
money.
and say, show them where the bag is, the down
Oh.
payment assistance bag.
That's right. Thank you, Stephanie. Now we feel updated. We feel relevant. Show me the bag. Show me the bag.
Look, well, Sean, show us how to get that bag. Latanya, take us away.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about your company and your role with Down Payment Resource and how will play a role in producing how many? 2 million
Black homeowners.
2 million and African American households in the next 5 years.
Well, I think a great way to start is to wrap up everything you guys were just saying into education. Every one of you is educating those buyers, those examples, those borrowers along the way about finance. And I know you covered credit and budgeting and so forth in the last week, but I think that's the biggest challenge to overcome is raising awareness of these DPAs, getting rid of misperceptions about down payment requirements. How many people come to you guys and say, I can't buy, I don't have 20% down, because they think they need 20% down, which is absurd. Right. It's flat out false, right? So that's a critical step toward homeownership, is letting people know that it's even possible. Letitia, you mentioned hope. You need to know that it's possible in order to have hope. And so our marketing has to head off the issues that people face. I've got student loans, I won't qualify. Not true. Talk to somebody. Let's figure it out, right? I don't have 20% down, I can't buy a home. Not true. Let's figure it out. So what our company does is we track and monitor all of the down payment assistance. And Letitia, you mentioned MCCs. We track all of those. We track closing costs, grants, and a lot of other programs for what we broadly call home buyer assistance. So there are other programs and ways to help current homeowners, weatherization, repair, rehabilitation programs. We track home buyer programs, and we try to make them available through real estate practitioners, through lenders and loan officers, to the consumer, to housing, education, and counseling providers, so that everybody, the whole supply chain, is aware of these programs and can apply them to solve for the down payment. So that's what we do. We keep all that stuff updated. We have over 2,300 programs in our system, which we believe to be everything across the country, from every state, every county, every city, every nonprofit that has one. And we're pushing that out to everybody to raise awareness of these programs. So at our core, that's what we're a database of down payment assistance, essentially.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome, Sean. So can you tell us a little bit about the tool itself?
Yeah, so what's on houseinthecar.com is basically just it's a widget that allows you to find down payment assistance or other home buyer programs based on where you want to buy, and then other optional criteria. If you want to enter your home ownership history, I think Stephanie, you mentioned earlier that not every program has a first-time home buyer requirement. Another misperception: oh, I can't use DPA, I'm a first-time home buyer. That stuff's only for first-time home buyers. Not true. Almost half the programs in our database don't even have a first-time home buyer requirement. So you can account for things like that in this tool. You can enter your household size and income. We all know, but consumers don't always know, prospective buyers, that these programs do have income limits. So we have to account for that. And what else? You can account for if you've got a military background, if you work in certain professions. There are hero programs, teachers, educators, and those definitions can be broad, not just the classroom teacher, but if you just work for the county or the school district or whatnot. You can account for, obviously, price, and then we'll just calculate all of that and give you back the programs that are available based on those inputs where you want to buy a home.
Awesome.
That's good. That's a lot of information. So how are you gathering the information to add to the site, and how often are you updating the system?
That's the hard part. Nobody has built an API or anything for us to tap into. So our CEO and founder decided that's what we should do, is build that repository that everybody can tap into to access all this data. So it's a very manual effort, but I will say over the last 12 years that we've been doing this, we've built great relationships and have great support from state housing finance agencies. TDHCA, TSHAC, Seth in Texas. I heard North Carolina Housing Finance Agency, but also the cities, the counties, the nonprofits, the NeighborWorks affiliates or branches, neighborhood housing services, and so forth. We call on them every month to answer part of that question. Every month, we're updating every program, making sure they still have money, making sure that repayment terms didn't change, capturing income limits. That changes every year, but not everybody's on the same schedule. A lot of the funding sources for these programs are seasonal. So home and CDBG money, they don't come out at the same time to every city, right? They come out in different times of the year, and they kind of stagger, their release is staggered. So we track all that, we update it on a monthly basis. And then on top of that, we build all these tools for people to access that information. And I will say this, we have a team of people that are tried and true believers in affordable lending, that have lending backgrounds very similar to everybody here. We've got people that were at Fannie, that were with lenders, that were with banks, and have always been a part of and involved in and believe in affordable lending and DPA and helping first-time home buyers.
And
Well, it
you
all
said,
sounds amazing.
but you said once a month. So now it's on the House in the Car website. So here's what I want everyone to know. All of you certified ambassadors. One of the things that we talked about when you obtained your certification was utilizing the tools from House in the Car to help promote your own personal business. So I am proud to announce that is one of the things that is going to be open and available to our House in the Car ambassadors. And if you have any questions on how that's going to benefit you, I am kicking it off with the first class, and it's Success with Down Payment Assistance here in Houston. So I'm going to, after today, I am going to post that on the House in the Cars page. And we're going to talk about how to utilize those tools to assist you. And that is for you certified Realtist ambassadors. Stephanie, do you think we want to show them how to utilize the widget?
Absolutely. Of course, that is on our House in the Car website. So if you go to houseinthecar.com, you'll be able to try this out with us. So I will share my screen. Let me find it. Okay. Let's see. I'm not finding
So
it.
audience, while she looks for that, if the audience have a specific address that they would like us to locate down payment assistance for, go ahead and drop it in our comment section. We won't be able to check everyone, but we will be able to work with a few. And our realtors that are on the line right now, surely they're going to provide some, but we won't be able to check everyone, but we'll be able to check a few of the addresses that are provided today live on House in the Car.
I'm almost there. Hold on, guys.
He's getting there. So while she's looking for that, Sean, I had a quick question for you regarding the DPAs in our current day. I mean, interest rates are so incredibly low. Do you mind touching on some of those DPAs that already have a fixed interest rate, and maybe give an example of one that is wildly popular but has an extremely wonderful interest rate right now? Uh-oh, she has it up. So
Yeah, if you mean
No, that's not it.
okay.
So housing finance agency, state or local, that's where you'll get the first mortgage. And we were seeing sub 3% rates before the market average got down to 3%. And there are a number of state housing finance agencies that have rates in the 2s right now. Those are 30-year fixed. And then of course you get the DPA on top of that. So that's the mortgage rate. So that would be like bond or TBA funded down payment programs. But most that's probably safe. Most community seconds, the standalone seconds from a city or a county or a nonprofit, most of those are 0% interest. And that's just the DPA. Then you go get your mortgage somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, you couldn't ask for better purchasing power with the DPA and rates where they are now.
Right. Absolutely. And Letitia, quick question for you. You
Yes,
talked
ma'am.
about stacking. Okay. Do you mind explaining to our potential home buyers what you mean by that?
Yes. So, well, here in Houston, we have different sources of where these funds come from. So, of course, you can't double dip is the easiest way to say that. If I'm
Mhm.
receiving home funds from one grant assistance program, I can't double dip and get more home funds. But if the source for the funds are from two different places, then I may obtain them. So stacking is basically just like you taking blocks and putting one on top of the other, and you're able to benefit from the resources of all of them. And what we use now, Section 8 is not a down payment assistance program. It is an assistance and it is a financial assistance. So that probably won't be something that comes up on this widget search. But if an individual is on the renters program and they're able to transition over to purchase, they may do that. And then with that transition, they will be able to take advantage of the down payment assistance programs that's offered from that, in addition to their Section 8. So my particular client was already on Section 8. She transitioned over to the purchase voucher program. And then she obtained City of Houston's down payment assistance program.
Mhm.
Well, we didn't have to stop there because Neighborhood Lift was provided from a totally different source, and it can be combined with City of Houston. Now, I taught one class one day and they asked me, can you combine city funds with county funds? And the answer is no, because if you pay taxes to the city, you may
Right.
live also in a county, but you can only take advantage of one, and the city supersedes the county.
Right.
And then you can turn around and put on top of that the mortgage credit certificate, which is basically, I call that having a kid without having a kid. It's a
Right.
rebate.
Right.
So you can also stack that one.
Right.
So that's exactly what it is. It's just combining as much as you can on top of each other for the best benefit.
Absolutely. Well, it looks like Stephanie has up her screen.
Yes, I do. I have the down payment resource screen up, and Sean's gonna help me and walk us through the functions of the screen. So just to let you guys know, I went to houseinthecar.com, and this screen is located under our resource tab. So if you click on down payment resource widget, it's gonna be under the resource tab. So Sean, how do we use this thing?
Yeah, well, so maybe we'll start in Letitia's market, and you could type in an address, or you could just go to general search and just type in Houston, or I forget Harris County, whichever. Type in Houston. Let's start with that.
Houston?
Yeah, and then you'll get a
Okay.
menu, and just select Houston, Texas. So you can do this nationwide, just so everybody knows. This works all over the country. Now that's a big number, right? LaTanya, as you know, not every lender participates in every down payment assistance program. You guys work with a lot. Some lenders don't want to touch it. And that's sad. I think that's a disservice. But 27 is what's out there, right? Now that's going to go up or down based on what we put in here. But it is important to connect with a lender that knows these programs, a loan officer that knows the program, the people, the process, so that you are getting service not just on your first mortgage, but you're getting competent quality service related to this down payment assistance. So anyway, from here, you could type in, anything else you want is optional. We just need to know where that person wants to buy a home, or where your client wants to buy a home, and we'll start producing that list. But if you put in, let's say, a $400,000 estimated sales price right below there, we might see fewer programs because these programs have a max purchase price, right?
Mhm.
But there's still opportunity, even at 400,000 in Houston. And you can take that out, and we'll go on to household information, that next tab. And here you can plug in, you can hit continue if you want at the bottom. So there's a couple of tabs here of information. For household, you can plug in household size. Let's just keep it single, or whatever you want. And household income, I don't know, plug in 97,000. And let's see what that looks like. Now, there may be a few programs there, still two
There's
left,
two.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's for a single person, right? Now, if you change household size to, let's say, 4, so a couple, 2 kids, now we have more programs because that income is based on household size. So we will account for that. And let's delete the income. And I'm just kind of showing what each filter does here and how we account for these variables. But let's say you currently own a home. You're obviously not a first-time home buyer. We still have probably half our programs, a little more than half, right? Because not every program has a first-time home buyer requirement, and that's important to remember. However, the first-time home buyer definition is basically that you haven't owned in the last 3 years. Now, there are nuances and caveats to that, but let's say instead of yes, we currently own a home, say no, but I owned more than 3 years ago, which would be the last option. Well, now we have all our programs back because you're a first-time home buyer. If you owned and sold 4 years ago, you're a first-time home buyer. If we, at the bottom of this, are you or your co-borrower a veteran? There are programs that are just for those or that offer unique benefits for those who have served in the military or are active
Oh,
duty.
yeah, and that gives more options.
Yeah. So we're not always just decreasing the count here. There are scenarios. And in fact, if you uncheck the veteran button and we go on to special circumstances, the last tab, in Houston, in Texas, you've got what TSHAC has a hero program, TDHCA I think does. There are some local programs that might be for educators, for healthcare workers, first responders, and so forth. Now, not in
I'm
every
going to click on education because Letitia's so passionate about education. So, you know, I always joke with her about her every time she talks about who she is and what she's done. She always starts off with, I taught 6th grade math. So we're going to click on
That was my
education.
community service.
Oh, wow. Look at the number of programs.
Right.
We value our educators.
Exactly.
Yeah, and so Letitia, you probably know this from I think it's TSHAC maybe, but that's not just K-12 classroom teachers. You can
That's
just
right.
work for the school district, and as long as you meet all the other requirements, credit, income, you know, front office staff, parapros, you know,
Right.
anybody that works for the school district can qualify under the educator definition. And so from here, you know, whatever you enter, whatever your client offers, or if you're a consumer, whatever you feel like disclosing here, we're gonna refine the results, and then you can click view programs at any time, and you can move on to the list of programs. You already know there's 27. When you enter your first name, last name, email here, then we'll actually show you the list of programs, and you'll have to enter something here the first time, and then you can do subsequent searches in that same session without repeating. But then we'll show you the list of programs. And if you need more help, you can reach out to House in the Car and they'll help walk you through next steps, expectations, getting pre-qualified, getting pre-approved, and so on.
Here is
I
one of
think
the
so.
things that I want to also mention, because it says 27 programs and up to $10,000 in down payment help. I mean, that's it for me. At this point, I know I can obtain some assistance. I know that the down payment minimum, what is it now for some programs, because there are some programs it's 100% down, 100% financing. Some of the programs though is 3.5%. And depending on what market I am and what home I'm buying, that could be enough to cover my down payment.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Stephanie, we do have an address mentioned here from the audience.
Okay,
Do you want to try that one?
sure. I'll go back to property information. And what's the address?
That is going to be as soon as I find it.
Ah,
I just saw them posted in there. Now it went away. We had too many comments. Let me see if I can pull it up from my phone.
Yeah, and Stephanie, check out Houston there.
it's like, oh yeah, let me take out the Houston.
And then we'll just use address and zip to map a property.
So there is a question while I pull that up.
Oh, I
and
see the address now, Letitia.
Oh, good deal. Now, Sean, someone wants to know if a condo or a home is considered single family.
Yeah, absolutely. A condo, a townhome, a single family detached, those are all single family. Manufactured, a lot of these programs can work on a manufactured home. Those are single family.
Doesn't look
Now, I
like they
don't
gave
have the zip code for this one, but it's in Trenton, New Jersey. Should I just put Trenton, New Jersey here, Sean?
No, it won't recognize that. Here, let's see if I can get a zip code. 1121 East State Street, Trenton.
Oh, here it is, 08609.
That's the zip
She
code,
added, yep, she added 086.
08609.
Yep.
Okay, 7 programs for that address.
7 programs. I love that.
I do too. I think this is an awesome tool, and guess what?
Part about
It
that
is-
address is if you need a number to a great loan officer in that area, we have it. So.
Yeah. Latanya, and I'm glad that you spoke. Can you tell us what how would this be beneficial to the agent, your partner realtist, when partnering with Prime Lending on
my
the
God.
down payment?
Yeah, this would be incredibly advantageous to use because, you know, with that realtist, if they have several, you know, whatever they have on their books in terms of listings, see, they could go out and use this tool, you know, as a realtist, and then you would already know the house that you're listing has, you know, it has the ability to be purchased using a down payment assistance program. So you could advertise that.
Absolutely.
So, right, you know, so that would be huge. And then, you know, also as you're talking to customers, you know, you need to let them know about these websites, and, you know, not just the listing agent. Now I'm referring to the, you know, the realtors that will be representing the buyer as well. This should be one of the first tools that you pull out, because first of all, I think that it's going to show that you're really engaged. And, you know, again, it adds to your personal value proposition.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. Sean?
Yeah, well, actually, so Antonio, you were essentially saying that earlier, sort of, except that it was last minute and it was to solve a problem that could have been prevented if you, as the seller's agent, and when you represent listings, start having that conversation up front. Then more buyers, more traffic. Well, not foot traffic right now, but when things normalize, but more eyeballs on listings and so forth. If you're promoting the fact that the property is eligible for programs, that's a great value to buyers. It's a great way to generate more offers, and it's a great way to get their closing costs covered so that your seller can net more.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You know,
Yeah,
I am often.
And for a listing agent, you can also put in that if you know it qualifies, the property qualifies for a certain program, you can put it in the remarks, and it may draw attention because people say it may qualify for a particular program. I think another good thing about this house in the car is also that a lot of these programs also might have where you need to take a home buyer education, and you can get that home buyer education right from houseinthecar.com, which is another.
Absolutely. We're a one-stop shop.
One-stop shop, and I'm so glad that you brought that part up, Antonio, as well. We do have the pre-purchase counseling class online. All you have to do is click on the link. But guys, keep in mind, if you have to have the one-on-one session, it is going to give you a pop-up where you'll be able to get your one-on-one session with your certified counselor. For many of the programs, the one-on-one counseling is required. And if that is the case, be sure to click on that link. Don't just bypass it, because the certificate alone will not be enough. You'll have to have the one-on-one as well. Also, I wanted to kind of talk to you guys about, again, just going back to the widget and the fact that this stuff is available to you. Yes, it does ask that you put in your information as a consumer, but keep in mind, once you get the results back, consumers, it is very important that you seek a professional. Because although the programs are listed there and the details are there as well, the professional can actually assist you in walking you through that stacking, because it does give you all of the information. However, do you know what you can stack with which program? So reaching out to a realtist, and Stephanie and I are working together to get all of our ambassadors on the website within the next 15 days. So everyone will be listed on the site and reaching out to the realtors to assist in walking you through that. Now, Latanya, in the comments, I am noticing that there is a request for LOs in Trenton and New Jersey area. So I don't know if you want them to reach out to you, or if you're, tell me, how do you want to handle that one?
Okay, yeah. Why don't you have them reach out to me? Let me give you my email address. It is L Donaldson, DONALDSON, L Donaldson at Prime Lending, which will be all one word, Prime, PRIME, lending, LENDING.com. If you will send that to me, I'll make sure that we put you in contact with a phenomenal loan officer. And one of the things that I wanted to mention, Letitia, is that I think it's very important to know that when you're using a DPA, it is your lender who is facilitating that for you. And you guys mentioned the requirement of homebuyer education. I would really encourage you, if you know you're going to be using a DPA, you're interested in using that, go ahead and get certified. Go ahead and take the educational, get the educational piece out of the way, because that will be a requirement and it will expedite the whole loan process as a whole.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. Thank you, Latanya. Thank you.
Hey, Letitia, before we move on, I just wanted to check with anyone in the audience. Are there any more questions about the widget before I stop share? Okay, I don't see any other questions, so I'll go ahead and turn the screen back over so we'll be able to see our full virtual stage.
Yes. And see that it's full, because it takes a village, and that's why we're here. I did see, please send, I have trouble finding lenders in the area sometimes that are well versed in working with DPAs. And guys, I'm going to tell you, I love working with Prime Lending. Prime Lending has done an awesome job at training their LOs and ensuring that they understand the programs and the products. And to be honest, I have worked with just about every single product here in Houston, and there's not one product or program that, even if they hadn't worked it before, that they were not willing to work. So I definitely, Latanya, I want to extend a great thank you for ensuring that everyone is capable of doing what it is that they have committed to our community to do.
Well, listen, Letitia, we are so happy to hear that. And we appreciate NAREB. We appreciate what you guys are doing. I mean, you're out there and it's boots on the ground, and you're helping to provide sustainable homeownership opportunities. So however we can partner, I mean, that's what we will do, because that's our goal. You know, we think that especially now, I mean, there's such great opportunities out there. You know, we know that in a lot of areas, you know, we're kind of feeling the pain from a inventory standpoint, but, you know, in addition to down payment assistance, which I'm probably stealing your thunder, we're going to talk about this next week, and we're going to talk about renovation loans. So, you know, a lot of different creative things out there. So I really appreciate the fact that you guys lead the charge in making sure that you keep the consumers and the realtors informed and educated.
Right. Thank you. Thank you. Well, Stephanie, if we don't have any other questions, we're at the closeout session. And what I'd like to do is hear from each of our local chapter presidents before hearing from Sean, and then closing out the session.
Awesome. So I will go ahead and start and ask Nichelle, you know, how do you feel about this resource tool, and how will you utilize it in your market?
Sorry about that, had a little technical difficulty there, but it would be of great value. As a broker, you know, on both ends of the transaction, like it was stated before, when you're working with people and being able to identify assistance, and sometimes, because as you all were talking, I was looking on the website on my iPad here, trying to, be slick about it. But I realized that there were like 15 properties. There were 15 down payment assistant programs in an area where my buyer is currently looking. And all of those opportunities I was not aware of. So, I'm very much excited about that opportunity and being able to utilize that. And I will use it on both sides of the transaction to add value to or more attention and interest to the property, and also getting it sold. Yeah.
Thank you, Michelle. Good to hear that.
Yes. Thank you. That is awesome. And Antonio, you've already told us how, you're thinking about using it on both the listing side as well as for your buyers. So how pivotal is something like this going to be for you going forward and for your market?
Well, it's great because a lot of times realtors, you have to, search so many different places to find the lenders, to get the budgeting, to get the education. So to have all of this in one tool, easy to get to, you can share it with your buyer. I mean, some of your buyers may not be quite ready yet, but you can have something to follow up with them and touch base regularly, like on their budgeting, how's your budget looking? How's your credit score looking? All of those things. A lot of times we may lose a buyer because we don't follow up. So this gives us another way to continue to follow up with our buyers to make sure that when they're ready, we're ready to go. So I think it's a great tool.
Absolutely. And I'm just excited as a realtist. This is a great opportunity for the ambassadors for House in the Car to utilize this tool. It's just great for the consumer to be able to go to the House in the Car website and also utilize the tool. But as Letitia stated before, when consumers, if you're going onto the website and you see the programs that are available in your market or for a certain address, please reach out to that realtist that will be able to assist you in the process. So as LaTanya stated, that the down payment assistance is going to be facilitated through your lender. So make sure that you're working with a prime lending or the lender of your choice, but please seek a professional.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Sean, do you have any closing remarks for us?
I do. So 3 things. Well, 4, because one is this has been awesome. Thank you guys for inviting us. And, we're just getting our partnership started, but there's a lot we can do. 3 things. We've been on kind of a prospective home buyer campaign ourselves recently, which was kind of new to us. We always worked with lenders, the real estate and the financing side. I can tell you this, we're telling people, don't give up. Not sure about your credit, not sure about your student loans, don't think you have 20% down, don't give up, talk to somebody. And the second thing is, these are the people to talk to, the ones that will tell you about DPA, that will talk to you about not just the obstacles that you face, but all of the solutions that are there for you to take advantage of. And that's what's going to get you to home ownership faster. And I'll end with this. We view, and we've seen the data that supports this from FHA and from others, a better educated buyer, especially one that has gone through home buyer education, is a more successful home owner long-term. And that's just as important as getting to closing, is making sure that that's your house forever after closing. So
yes. Well, Sean, I'm so grateful that you are grateful for this platform, because guess what? Guys, realtors, this will not be the last time that you see Sean. We will be working together behind the scenes to ensure that you see that face more often than not. So realtors, Sean has so much more to give, and I'm so grateful that he just made this announcement to you guys on our virtual platform, on our virtual stage. So stay tuned and look forward to it.
Sean is coming with the bag.
He is
Okay.
He is
Yes, guys, and thank you for tuning in today. And next week, we will have our Super Series Tuesday, All Hands on Deck, exploring unique avenues to purchase with 203K. And 203K is a type of loan. So if you're not familiar with that, please join us. We want to explore different options that are available for you. We will also have our Homeownership Changed My Life series coming back next Tuesday as well.
And Stephanie, not just 203K, but a whole renovation menu. So we're excited about that one.
Well, and there is a crossover question in the chat. So I want to make sure that we go ahead and address that really quickly. There was a comment in the chat about using down payment assistance, and if you had to live in the home for a certain number of years. Keep in mind, each one of the programs have their own retention period. So again, beware, read the fine print, know what you're getting into. I've heard 5 years, but I do know for a fact that there are some programs that extend up to 15 years. So just kind of make sure that you know what you're entering into before signing on the dotted line. But our crossover question in the chat, and we're right at the end, so I'm going to go ahead and read it. It's a perfect question for the crossover, and that's crossing over from episode 3 into episode 4. And it says, since LaTanya brought it up, are you seeing down payment assistance programs that we're able to use in conjunction with 203Ks?
Oh, okay. So you know what? I am going to, because I'm not a loan officer, I have not personally put my eyes on that. I think that there is, but tune in next week. I will tell you this though. You can use a 5,000. Well, yes, I do have the answer to that. You can use a 5,000.
Don't answer it.
Yeah.
Keep
Okay. More to come on that. There is something that you can do with FHA that is not going to be as, I'll just say as detailed as a 203K that you can utilize. More on that next week.
Right, you gotta tune in. You have to tune in next week.
You have to come back in natural co-host spirit. Thank you, LaTanya.
Right.
Well, guys, as always, it is always a pleasure. It is definitely, and I want to thank our special guest today, which is our local chapter president, Nichelle, and our first vice president, Antonio. And of course, thank you, Sean, and I can't say enough about my awesome co-hosts, Stephanie and LaTanya. Thank each of you, Realtist Facebook audience, for joining us again this Tuesday on Super Series Tuesday. It takes a village to produce 2 million African Americans or 2 million Black homeowners in 5 years. We're so grateful to have you here, as LaTanya stated, and she didn't want to steal my thunder, but it is okay. We are in this thing together. We are on this village. It's next week is 203. Actually, it is the renovation. Yes, right. We're getting real crafty because you know what? There is not one size fits all when it comes to home ownership. So here at House in the Car, we want to make sure that we give you all of the options. But those of you ambassadors that are out there, we're seeing information, we're seeing questions in the chat. How do I get a list of the ambassadors? Ambassadors that are out there, stay tuned for your training schedule that is to come. And of course, ambassadors, be ready and be prepared for Sean to bring you the bag. Thank you guys for joining us again, and I look forward to seeing you next Tuesday.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.